Classification of proteins based on shape and solubility. Now, based on shape and solubility, we can classify proteins into fibrous and globular mainly. Now, fibrous proteins, as the name implies, they are fiber-like. They look like fiber, thread, line. They are linear. So fibrous proteins are like this. Just like that, thread-like, fiber-like. That's what we're talking about. And remember, we are looking at the protein under shape and solubility. We've seen the shape. That the shape of fibrous protein is linear, right? Fiber-like. Then solubility, are they soluble? No, they are not soluble. Fibrous proteins are not soluble. They cannot dissolve in water. They are not soluble. And they are very strong. So they form structural components of the body. So they are, in fact, they are called structural proteins. Because they are very strong. Examples of fibrous proteins are what? Collagen. Where can we find collagen? Inside you now, where can you find collagen? Bones, right? Where again? Tendons, joints, you can find collagen. Keratin, where can you find keratin? Your nails, your hairs, you can find keratin. It's like, why do you touch your hair and you look at it? You think you see the keratin? Alright, so elastin also is another one. So these things are found in structural parts of the body, structural components of the body. That's fibrous protein. I said two main things here. In fibrous protein, what is the shape? Linear, right? Fiber-like shape. Is it soluble? No, it is not soluble. Is it digestible? No, it cannot be digested also. It's resistant to digestion. Alright, now, globular proteins. Globular proteins. What shape are they? Spherical, right? A spherical or what? Oval shape. So because of the shape, spherical, they are also called spheroproteins. Spheroproteins because they are spherical in shape. Now examples are, first, are they soluble? They are soluble, right? They are soluble because their hydrophilic ends are exposed. So they are soluble. So they are spherical and soluble. Example, insulin. What's the function of insulin? It is in carbohydrate metabolism, right? Glucose. Remember, digestion starts from the mouth of carbohydrate, right? And it ends in the small intestine. The glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream, right? In the bloodstream, two things are happening. The glucose can be driven into the cells. Insulin is helping that. If you go to an occasion and they are giving 5 plates of rice, or you took 5 plates of rice, they are bringing, you're putting under the seat. You know how it used to happen now. Then you ate 1 plate, you ate 2, and you were filled. But you now check the other 3 remaining. You say, if you take it to the hostel, that thing is not your own again. Because other persons in the hostel, they are also hungry. He said, instead of food to waste, maybe let boss. You decided to finish the 5 plates of rice there. And remember, it's carbohydrate based, right? Now you agree with me that after digestion, the glucose level in your bloodstream will be very high, right? Now your body, knowing that tomorrow you don't have food to eat, will now say, okay, now that I have excess, let me store some, so that a day when I don't have, or time when the level becomes low, I can now release that one I stored. Is it not? So excess glucose will now be transported to the liver and be stored there as glycogen. So the storage form of glucose in animal is what? Glycogen, right? Now be stored there as glycogen. What is helping in that process, transporting glycogen to be stored as, glucose to be stored as glycogen, is insulin. Diabetic patients, they have issues with their insulin. Either it's not produced in enough quantity, it is resistant, it's not sensitive. So when they have excess glucose like that in their blood, it cannot be transported to be stored as glycogen. So their blood sugar is always high. Another one we have under this category is membrane proteins. Now, membrane proteins are found as part of the membrane, or they interact with the membrane. Now, when we talk about the membrane, we're talking about the cell membrane. This is the cell. This thing you are seeing here is a cell membrane. And this cell membrane can have two types of proteins. We call them integral protein and peripheral proteins. Sorry, permit me to draw this. Now, this is how the membrane looks like. The cell membrane, this is how it looks like. This is a protein, this is another protein. Among this one, before I explain, among this one and this one, which one is integral protein? This one, right? Among this one and this one, which one is integral protein? Eh? This one, or the one beside the other one? No problem. All right, so this is integral protein. Integral protein is always transversing the two edges of the membrane. This is a lipid bilayer. Then the one that stays on just one part of it is the peripheral protein, right? Integral proteins are permanently fixed into this. Peripheral protein is just on the surface, not inside, on the surface. That's why it's called peripheral. Integral, inside. Do you get that? So integral proteins and peripheral proteins are membrane proteins because they are found in the cell membrane. Do you understand that? They are found in the cell membrane. So these are the classifications of proteins based on shape and solubility. So we've seen the differences that fibrous proteins, are they soluble or insoluble? These, are they soluble or insoluble? Soluble, right? Good. Now, here we're not looking at, just like I said, based on shape and solubility, the basic proteins found are this and this. All right. So that's that. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?